This April, district patrons will have the chance to vote on the 2025 bond issue, including Proposition F and S. Prop F is a bond issue aiming to tackle maintenance, renovations, and additions across the district. Prop S is to raise the operating tax levy, improving district salaries. Farmington School District Superintendent Dr. Gibbs has more information.
So we have Proposition F on the April ballot. April 8th is the election, and that is for keeping our debt service levy the same at 90 cents as it's been for well over a decade now. And with that, we can go out and ask for bond funds, and when we collect those funds, we are able to use those for building projects, renovations all across the district. And then we also have Proposition S, which is a levy increase, so it's completely different from Proposition F, which focuses on the bond funds and doing building improvements, paying staff, putting new programs, athletic programming, food service, all of those costs that we have on an everyday basis. And so two different things that we have going on there. Yeah. Anytime we do any expansion at any of our campuses at this point that don't have a storm shelter, so that would take in Truman, Washington, Franklin, and Jefferson have access to storm shelters. The other 5 buildings don't. And so that is what brought about the idea of the Performing Arts Center here, because it can also serve as a storm shelter for the 1,500 people that are here between staff and students. And then that would allow us then to go to the second floor down there and put that classroom expansion and free up some of the spaces we've been using that are a little unconventional in the basement, things like that. Get those classrooms out of there and get those spaces back to what they were originally planned for.
Bond Issue Committee member Dr. Brian Reeves says the bond issue mainly targets the need for maintenance throughout the district. This consists of HVAC systems, classroom expansion, parking, and adding a functional track at the middle school. They are also hoping to make improvements at the high school.
But, there has been a need for a long time for an auditorium here. We have a very robust theater and music program, and frankly, with the stuff that I'm involved with, I have a fair amount of meetings with parents, and you may not necessarily know if you're going to have 10 people show up or have 150 people show up to those things, and we really don't have a space that's convenient for a crowd of 50 to 100 people, and an auditorium would serve that. And wouldn't it be great to have a public speaking class or a theater class where you could go on stage and practice, and obviously the music classes as well, that they can rehearse and do those sorts of things. So I think there's a ton of benefits for both the students and for the faculty.
Bond issues come up every few years, and each time, certain needs have to be met. This time around, new HVAC units, routine maintenance, classroom expansions, various technology upgrades, and additional parking are the main points of focus.
Another thing I haven't really commented on is at what we call the East Campus, which is Lincoln, Roosevelt, and the middle school. There's a large grassy area that we're going to be able to reclaim and put a sports complex there. So the students at the middle school, all the programs that take place there as far as their track practices would be able to be held there. Football, the band could use that as overflow for practice. It would be a full-size field, a full-size track, and so we wouldn't have as much congestion over here. We wouldn't have to be busing kids across town. And the process would be able to add more parking and better traffic flow through there. So that's a really exciting project that would take place as well.
Bond Issue Committee member and FHS teacher Dr. Brian Reeves says if passed, the pay raise would help the district to retain and recruit new teachers.
They are looking at getting the levy rate, the tax levy, a little bit higher, because one of the things that has happened over the last several years is that fewer and fewer people are going into teaching. More people are reaching my age, which is getting close to retirement age, and so recruitment and retention is getting to be a bigger issue for school districts, and we want to keep our programs that we have and remain competitive. So one way to do that is to increase our pay, and we're kind of middle tier, middle of the rung in the MAAA right now.
Well, I think we've covered a lot with the bond issue and the debt service levy staying the same and being able to fund all those bond projects. We've had years where we've passed those and had success and made the improvements. It's kind of a different path as far as also balancing that with the operating side, which has been kept to 275 throughout that, and just with the rising operational costs, the challenges of teacher shortage all across the country, and attracting teachers and then keeping them here. And we have a few area districts that we've fallen behind, close by, Central, St. Genevieve, kind of even with even other MAAA schools. So we want to make sure we value our staff, and so that's where the operating levy and that increase comes in. And so I think that's something that we throw out the word bond a lot. Bonds are going to do a lot of building projects, but now we're also asking and talking about the levy, the potential levy increase, and how we're going to use that to make sure that it's everyday costs of staffing, giving health care benefits for them, being competitive with all the support staff we need as far as food service workers and custodians and maintenance guys and bus drivers and all of that. So just making sure that they feel valued and we can keep them here, because there's been an employee shortage, and we've had higher turnover the last couple years. So as we look at that, those increased salaries would help kind of address some of that concern, and hopefully help curb the turnover and make sure we keep the best people we can in the district.
If passed, Prop F projects would begin shortly after voting concludes, and Prop S would go into effect the 25 to 26 school year. This has been Corbin Hafley, Dayton Cannon, and Morgan Schwert for BKTV.